So much for a low-scoring venue, hosting two teams who were coming on the back of a low-scoring contest. Delhi and Hyderabad, at least in the first half of this contest, have made up for what was not the most exciting Monday match that they gave us. 197 for 6 is what Sunrisers Hyderabad finished with against Delhi. On Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. Tom Moody, Matt Roller here to look back at that innings, which, Tom, the headline acts, of course, Abhishek, Sharma and Klaasen.
Yeah, look, firstly, I'd like to say I think they've got their batting order right. What are we up to, game 8? And to me, that's probably what their planning was 6 months out. That this is how, we sort of see this shaping up. And it looks a formidable lineup. Now, I know there's a number of players that didn't fire tonight, but that's not the point. It's how they've got their runs, and they've got them very well. Abhishek Sharma batted outstandingly well. He's batting in the position he belongs, and clearly showed why he belongs there. He's a high percentage boundary hitter, particularly in the power play. He's a left-hander, which gives you that challenge at the top of the order where you have that left-right combination. And Klaasen showed his form that he's been showing for South Africa over the past 12 months or so, that sort of power game that he can just shift into fifth gear very quickly and hit the ball out of the ground. So, a nice sort of bookend performance, really. Abhishek at the top, setting the tone, and Klaasen at the back, just finishing the innings off perfectly.
How do you view that innings on the whole?
Yeah, I think very much that batting lineup is unlocked if Abhishek can bat deep as well as the left-hander, because there's one thing that we've seen without Washington Sundar, Sunrisers have a lot of right-handers through that middle period, but if their left-hander at the top can bat through, then they don't have any issues with creating an opening for a finger spinner to come in and turn the ball away from the outside edge for both batters. So it feels like a significant moment for Abhishek as well, sort of coming into this IPL and really starting to show his best. And I think, a consistent run in that position at the top of the order for him is probably exactly what he needs. I was very impressed by him.
One of the things that had stood out about Abhishek when we viewed it from the outside was it wasn't just that he took off in the power play. There were so many innings where he would exceed against pace. It's not someone who has issues against spin. And today you saw that complement in an innings where he kept losing partners at the other end, but he never lost steam.
No, he didn't. And the beauty of a player like Abhishek Sharma is a high percentage boundary hitter. And tonight's innings is a good example of that. I think 54 runs of his 67 were boundaries. Yeah. And that's a real threat for the opponent when you've got someone that can dissect your field like that and just cut you to ribbons, literally. And that's the beauty of a player of that calibre. He's a free-flowing timer of the ball. As you said, whether it's pace, you give him any width, he'll punish you. And spin, he's shown his quality against spin, where he's got the game to be able to hit you not only for fours but for sixes as well.
Let's just shed some more light on that second innings, the second big contributor, which is Klaasen. Because at the point he enters, Matt, it's 83 for 4 in the 10th over. You feel like a good start, might run away, and you know at this point that there's not a lot left in the hut.
Yeah, a fantastic innings given the situation. And Klaasen is someone who, I think he's 31 or thereabouts, and at a stage in his career where he's not played an awful lot of IPL cricket by any means at this point. So for him to be coming in and thriving in that middle order role, I think we've seen how difficult it is for a lot of overseas players to come in and hit the ground running straight away as a finisher. So I think, a really important innings for him as well to sort of, I think he's shown glimpses of it throughout the season. Thinking back to that Mumbai Indians game where he really took down Piyush Chawla and then probably gave it away a little bit, but really kicked on tonight as well. And I'm sure Tom, having signed him in a draft in the 100 about a month or so ago, you must be sitting there feeling rather smug.
Yeah, no, it's he's been doing this for 12 months. Where he's not only a incredibly destructive player against spin. I don't think there's a spinner in the world that would fancy bowling to him day in, day out. But he has that ability to hit high gears quickly. So, yeah, he's a perfect fit where he's sitting at the moment down the order.
And it's almost such a rare fit, right? Because this is someone carded in at number 6, typically a finisher's role. And we often question whether there are finishers who, when wickets fall too early, can they handle spin? But here you have the complete reverse option, who will boss spin and then does the finishing as well.
Yeah, he's got a complete game. So you compare him with, you know, your say Andre Russells, for instance, who has been an incredibly successful finisher for a long period of time. But if there's one little crack in his armour, it is when you match him against spin. There's times where he's been undone. You know, not mainstream spin. I'm talking sort of your more elite mystery type spin, where Klaasen's got the answer to that. He can sweep both sides, not only for 4 but for 6s both sides, and he can hit obviously down the ground. So he's nearly, as you quite rightly point out, he's nearly a perfect fit because he can deal with a high percentage number of spin overs effectively, and the innings doesn't come to a halt. It's still under pressure, as in the pressure's on the bowling side, and then he's got those great finishing skills.
It feels almost like quite a similar role to the one that we've seen David Miller do over the past couple of years for Gujarat as well, where you can give yourself that bit of time. Miller's become a very complete player against spin, as we've seen with Klaasen, and they seem to be doing a pretty similar job, I think, the two of them.
In that Sunrisers total of 197, there were 4 overs of Mitch Marsh, which went for only 27, and he's also ended up with 4 wickets. You don't often expect Mitch Marsh to return a lot of wickets for you. You had said some games back when we were wondering what's going wrong with his batting, that it helps him cement his spot, the fact that he's an all-round option, and today comes ahead with 4 wickets.
Absolutely. You'd hate to think what it would have looked like without those, you know, wickets and that contribution from him. I think the thing that impressed me the most around Mitch Marsh's bowling performance was his ability to adapt immediately to the conditions. He bowled accordingly to that Delhi pitch, and that clearly is not a 197 pitch. You know, he took his pace off very cleverly, bowled the right length of that pace off, and was very difficult to get away. So it'll be interesting to see how much the Sunrisers bowling attack has drawn from, you know, that. I would have thought a lot, because given Dale Steyn is the bowling coach, he's no mug when it comes to sort of those types of observations and how they apply that to their bowling performance.
You tell me this is his best bowling performance since the first time he ever had a ball in this format, which was some years ago. Yeah,
and I think he's probably a pretty different bowler as well at this stage of his career as a sort of experienced player. And as we saw, I think his average speed was in the sort of low 120s kilometres an hour, and all 4 of his wickets was banged in halfway down. So it'll be interesting, as Tom says, to see whether someone like Bhuvi or potentially Natarajan, if they sub him in halfway down, whether they look for that sort of plan.
They will do, for sure. The interesting thing around Mitch Marsh and what you're saying there is that Mitch Marsh would have bowled like Cameron Green, is currently bowling for Mumbai, and that's sort of that up to 140 range. Cameron Green's a bit quicker than what Mitch Marsh was in his early days, but still pretty sort of one-paced, still threatening, but what Mitch Marsh and what experience gives any player, not just Mitch Marsh, is understanding the game and reading the game and having the smarts to adapt immediately, and that's exactly what he did tonight. And he didn't need to bowl 130, 135, 140. He needed to bowl at a certain pace with the change-ups at the right length and line.
So Mitch Marsh, pretty much the reason why Sunrisers might have been kept down to 197. 197 in itself, way above par for the Kotla generally and what we were expecting. Are you giving the Capitals a shot at this chase?
I think it'll be pretty tough. I think just because of the fact that Marsh has been as successful as he was, I don't think it was a belter by any means. I don't think it was a 200 pitch, as far as I could tell. You know, maybe there's a chance if Warner, for example, comes off and has one of the nights where everything clicks for him, but I think Sunrisers will be pretty confident about defending that at halfway.
I think it'd be 20 to 30 runs too many. I think that's a very, very good score on a surface that's challenging, unless conditions change dramatically and there's heavy dew and the ball skids on a bit. What the Delhi Capitals require is a Warner, Salt or Mitch Marsh close to 100 score, or if not, all 3 of them getting half centuries at a very quick rate.
The ask is a huge one for whichever team does not want to occupy the basement come the end of this night. Be sure to follow the game on the ESPNcricinfo mobile app. There might be a few swings in fortunes. The win probability shall keep you in track of that. We'll be back as soon as the action is over at the Kotla. Be sure to join us then on Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout.